I work with a very liberal, highly educated group of male scientists who are strongly opposed to religion, especially Christianity. And they say terrible things about God and about Christ's followers. And despite the fact that they appear hopelessly lost, I know that I'm commanded to share the gospel with them and to be a light at my job. So I guess my question is, how do I share the gospel in a somewhat hostile workplace environment? I know I'm at my job to do my work, and they're not people that I spend time with outside of work. They're mostly men, and they're about the age of my parents, and some of them are owners of the company, so I feel a little lost how to approach it, wanting to be respectful of my job, but also obedient to the Lord. So.
Just a second. Les, would I ruin it if I carry this over? No? Okay, no. Did you know that up here you can't hear there because it bounces around, but I can hear right there because that's a direct line. So, Elizabeth, did I get, you work in a liberal, opposed to religion, scientific place. How to share the gospel? And what was the last part of that? Where'd you go? You disappeared. What was your tail end thing? How do I share the gospel and what? Respectfully. Okay. Well, I mean, the short answer is this. I mean, we'll go in background. To share the gospel respectfully is very hard because the preaching of the cross is foolishness. And people scoff. And it's a stumbling block, God says. So it's like, how do you respectfully trip someone? You don't. You just do it. And you do it in love. I mean, I'm talking about sharing the gospel, because the bottom line of the gospel is telling them that they're hopelessly dying of an infectious disease, and they have a terminal case of it, and no one has told them before. And everyone said, don't worry about it, you don't have a problem. And you're the doctor that looks them in the eye and says, you do. You are infected with something far worse than HIV. And they're scientists. You have the SIN virus, and no one has survived. And there's only one vaccination, and that's the blood of the one, and that's how you work into the gospel, the one who died in your place. What's really interesting is you don't have to be liberal science and oppose, it's just everybody has a resistance to hearing they're wrong, they're proud, and they're estranged from God and an enemy of God. So the scriptures, both Romans 1, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it's the power of God unto salvation to all who believe. I usually, and I've been sharing the gospel, since I first was challenged by my Sunday school teacher when I was about 9 years old. And I've been dutifully sharing the gospel. And I have learned over the years, if someone will not express an agreement that they're a sinner, I stop. I don't. Why go on? If they are not aware, Jesus Christ died for sinners. So if they're not one, I can't share the gospel with them because they can't be saved. He only saves sinners. So if they're not convicted, if the Spirit of God has not, as John 16 says, and when he has come, he will convict the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. If the Holy Spirit is not convicting them, can't go anywhere. But right here, how do you share the gospel? There's a lot of ways you can work it in. One way is to say, I shock people. I say, did you know that I am a guilty, desperate, lying thief? Yeah. Or, have you ever lied? Come on. Have you ever taken anything that's not yours? You're a guilty, desperate, lying thief, too. I'm not the only one. Did you know what? I tell people I'm a convict. That really gets their attention. I guess I look like one. What I'm saying, and they pause and they say, really? What? Yeah, I says, I'm a guilty convict. And they, what do you mean? In the sight of God has convicted me and judged me to be guilty of my sin. So you can share the gospel either in a personal way with your testimony, or you can go bouncing off. I've found bouncing off disasters and things like that and share the gospel. But what I have learned is if I am not praying for conviction of my target audience, that's why if you're really sharing the gospel, then you have a list of people that you're praying for on a regular basis, that the Lord will open the door of faith to them, that they will become a lover, as 2 Thessalonians 1 says. That people don't get saved because they don't have a love of the truth.